Are you looking for a budget-friendly watercolor paint? Today I'm testing the Rowney Aquafine set. I'll swatch the colors, mix a few dark combinations to see how they blend, and then paint a pair to really put them to the test. Let's see how they do. Today I thought we would try the little travel set by Rowney Aquafine watercolor, and it's very inexpensive. Let's start by opening it up. Nice and slim. Oh, and it has a little palette and a little brush. We're just going to swatch them and see. Okay, let's give them little spurts. Let's just start with our white. Not that we're going to see it a lot, but our paper is a little creamy. Oh no, our paper's whiter than I thought. We'll test the white out after with another color. So we'll go right down the line, and I'm just going to take the paint right off of the pan. Gotta make sure our brush is clean. Oh, and you know what? That little bit of water really made them creamy on the top. I should actually probably write the names on these as we go. Okay, that looks very, very potent. We have Chinese white, and then we have lemon, gamboge, cad red, and then we have alizarin crimson. I'm gonna actually put some here. And that I would say is probably a PV19. Yeah, that gives us a better idea. That red was a little thick. Okay, then we have cobalt blue. A lot of blue. And I believe that's ultra dark, ultramarine, dark, or green, yellow ochre, sienna, and Payne's gray. So this would be our cobalt, our ultramarine dark. Oh, that's pretty gritty, I can see it. But ultramarine ochre's green, which is a color I don't think I've ever had on my palette. Maybe in my acrylics, but I don't think I ever really used it a lot. Yellow ochre, oh yeah, which is quite opaque. Oh, this one water dried, but even without a lot of water, I can get it reconstituted. Oh, this actually seems like it's got a lot of binder in it. You can see how the paint's not really smoothing out. Let me just get some going with some water. See if maybe that's our problem. Yeah, I'd work that a little more before I actually used it. Sienna. Oh, that's a nice burnt sienna. Very nice. In fact, that might be the PR 101. Very pretty. And then our Payne's gray. I have to click some of these pans down. You can see how they're wobbling. I think they're just not clicked in. Yeah, there we go. Oh, yeah, you know what? The paint comes up beautiful on them with the brush and a little bit of water. Here's what I like to try. I like to see what I can get for darks. So burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. Oh yeah, that's pretty. A little more blue. Now that's way too close to the Payne's gray. Look at that. So really, you could use the Payne's gray and not even mix that, which means you could probably just add some burnt sienna to the Payne's gray. We're going to try it. So this is burnt sienna to the ultramarine to make a dark brown. Okay. So this is burnt sienna plus ultra blue, and this is burnt sienna plus ultra blue, more brown. Okay, so now there's some Payne's gray there. Let me just add, okay, that's a little bluer. Okay, oh beautiful, that's a nice. Now I would normally use the ultramarine blue and the burnt sienna to mix that, but with the Payne's gray, I mean, you could use it up that way. Okay, so let's try some burnt sienna back into that and see where we go. Yeah, very similar. I'll look it up later and see what actually they used to make their Payne's gray. So we have Payne's PG, Payne's gray plus ultra blue, ditto, Payne's gray plus burnt sienna. Let's just move some of that. Let's just see, let's see the red, the warm red. See, phthalo blue is one of my main blues. Oh, that's pretty. That's a nice dark. And this is the cad red plus ultra blue. And let me just add some of the white to this dark. Now, typically I would just use water to lighten that, but I wanted to see how effective the white was. So this is plus white. Let's use the alizarin crimson as an example. Okay, so let's put some of that there. That is very pretty. Let me get rid of this. Let me take some of this and add some water to it, because this is typically how, if you want a lighter pink, use more water. That's the traditional way to lighten colors in watercolor. So there's a light pink. See how you still see the paper through it? And if you're glazing, this is a must. You can't glaze with white. It'll block the other layers from showing. So this is alizarin crimson plus water. And then we'll do alizarin crimson plus white. So let me just get rid of this and move some over and grab some white. I'm already contaminating my white, but I won't be using the white. And then again, I shouldn't say never. So here is a lighter color with white. Now I'm going to paint Let's paint a yellow strip just to show you. So I'm going to show you, once this is dry, what happens. Say we were layering our red over our yellow and you wanted that light pink. Okay, just give me a sec, I'm going to dry that. Okay, that's nice and dry. So the first thing I'm going to do, while I still have it, I'm going to take this pink and I'm going to run it over top of this. Okay, then I'm going to just take some of this with water and I'm going to run it over top. We have this right here, we have this right here. You see the difference? This is going to allow your colors to glow through. White is not. It's going to obscure the color underneath because it's more on the opaque side, even though you're mixing it with a transparent color. And with glazing, that doesn't work. The other thing I do want to try, I just want to see what our Hooker's green would be like with some other colors. I normally mix my own greens, but let's give it a shot. Okay, we'll try the nice bright yellow. That yellow is potent. That's quite pretty. Really nice for sunlit grass. And let's try the yellow ochre. Oh, in fact, I have some right there. Let's just pull this over here. I wanted to mute it down green. Now keep in mind, yellow ochre is more opaque, but if you use lots of water, you'll be okay. That's very nice. Okay, so this is Hooker's plus the lemon. This is Hooker's plus ochre. Let's compare that. Let's try to darken it down some. So there's a blue-green. I would add some red or something to make that more a believable green, but that actually could be beneficial. I don't see any spot where I'd ever use Hooker's green out of the two, but never say never. I guess maybe if it was a man-made color or something. That is Hooker's plus a blue. Let's try the Hooker's green. A little bit of the Payne's gray. Just a little. Put it there just in case you get too much. No, guess not. I'm gonna have to clean all these paints off after. I'm just contaminating. Okay, that's nice. Oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful dark green. That's actually really nice. So that is Hooker's with Payne's gray. What about if we just use the Hookers with a little bit of our alizarin crimson? And red will neutralize, which means I need a little more stronger paint, which means it'll dull it down. See how that kind of went muddy quick? That's because we're doing red and green. Throw a little bit of green back in there. We get a color very similar, but a little more muted, and that's nice as well. That's a little cooler, that's a little more muted. That is Hooker's plus alizarin crimson. Cobalt used to be a blue that was on my palette, but I took it off. Oh, that is pretty. I took it off just because it was so similar to the ultramarine. This is a cobalt blue and the alizarin. Alizarin plus cobalt blue. Yeah, you can get a really nice range of colors from these. And just looking at them, I mean, they look nice. They do dry duller, but that's okay. So I think next we're going to, actually these are dry. I'd like to just, if the colors lift well. Yeah, we know that one does. Yeah, second I touched it. So this alizarin crimson I'm thinking is probably staining. Yep. Oh, the gamboge lifted pretty good. I'm just barely touching it just a couple times to see. And in all fairness, I had quite a bit of pigment on those too. Vault lifts well. Ultra should lift even better. Oh yeah. Yeah, that raw sienna just seems to be, it's patchy, yeah. Burnt sienna. Yeah, if I would have went in a straight line, that would have lifted better. Payne's gray. You can tell just when you pull it out. So, I mean, they all lift pretty well except for the alizarin crimson is a little more staining. Now, the burnt sienna, oh yeah, the burnt sienna lifts well too. Let's make a nice pear. So maybe we'll have a bottom that goes like that. It'll sit on the table. Nice stem. Okay, let's get rid of this table. Keep in mind too, if I go over this with yellow, I'm not going to be able to erase my pencil lines. So I'm just going to take some of them up now. I just want an outline. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a really thin, really light, which means lots of water. See what I'm doing? I'm actually just adding some water from that. And it would help if we had a little tester. Here's an old one. So see how pale that is compared to everything else? Oh, I'm going to put the yellow on the stem as well. See how I just grabbed a little water? I'm actually just pulling some of the front out with a little bit of water because that's going to be lighter. And if I miss a few white spots, not a big deal. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to dry that with the hairdryer. That is dry. Now I'm going to mix up a nice orange. Let's try this a little thicker. Let's see what this mixes. Let's try that. That's a nice orangey. Can I get that red or two as well and look good? Oh, that's a little too red. So let's just add a little of our warm, a smidge yellow. It's going to probably good. That's quite nice. Could even make it a smidge more red. That red's pretty powerful. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, so we have a nice orangey yellow and we have a nice orange. Actually, I might wet this. Now, I didn't do it before when it was wet because the pear was already starting to dry at the top, and you can't drop color in once something is part dry. You have to still have a sheen on your paper. I don't know if you can see that sheen. I missed a few spots, but that's okay. So that's a good sheen to start dropping in. Once it starts drying, then you've got to stop. Put some of this yellow here and here, because there's going to be some here. And we want some darker red, reddy orange here. I'm just dropping this in wet and wet, so it's going to dry a lot lighter, but that's okay. I'm just kind of getting the foundation in of where we want these colors. Let's try that. See how much it lightened, which is good. We didn't want it extremely dark to start with. Where you build your layers up, you don't start off with really dark paint. I'm going to go in and I'm going to paint this table background, and I think I'm going to do it cobalt blue, a light cobalt blue. See how much water, like watercolor needs water. That's pretty, and we're painting that on dry paper, so that'll still dry a little lighter and it'll dull down some. And I'm going to go right over the shadow and everything, which I can see I actually painted part of the pear over the shadow, but that's okay. That is fine. The pear can be any shape it wants. So now I'm going to load up my brush here with paint so I can get a bead going, so I get it nice. And the trick is to keep your edge of your paint wet. So if you've got a big area, that can be really hard because your edge will be long. But see how I'm just I'm keeping the whole edge. Don't worry if you overlap a little. I mean, this is art. It's not perfection. We're not going for photorealism or anything. Oh, as I say that, I splash it everywhere. That's the story of my life. Yes, yes, I like to make a mess. All right, let's just use up that paint that's already floating around. So I'm just gonna dab what's left on my brush off, and I'm just gonna pick up that big bead, so it doesn't back run. If I would have left all that water there, as this behind it dried, it would suck that water back because the dampness would suck the water in, and then we'd end up with a big run. I was just wiping off the tape. Let's just see if I can pick up this little splash I made without making a mess. Oh, did I just drop on the? I did. See, I just dropped water right there, but that's okay. While we're here, I just heard you know who. No, I'm busy. I'm just going to, let's see, the light's coming this way. So it'll be darker back here that way. You stay. Charlie is keeping his distance so far. We will see though. You know how he likes to interrupt. Let's just dry that quickly. So I turn around and yes, to my surprise, there's Mr. Charles. What would you, no, it's not time for supper. It's not. That's a little too orange. That's a little better. What I want to do is and this is all kind of turned under some water, and I'm going to come back and just touch that edge. Yeah, this palette isn't quite big enough for everything that I would like, but I'm just gonna grab a little bit of green, because that will start to look blue. It turns, and I'm going to feather this out a little. Yeah, this pigment moves very, very easily. I am just gonna go right over the damp part. So that's the only way you can avoid back runs. If you do get water into it, and you can still see it's pushing it. Let's grab some of this. I'm just dropping everything back in. So I put a little too much pigment down. I'm gonna take water, and I'm actually pulling it down and hitting that, but you've gotta come back with some more pigment to fill that water in, so you don't end up with too much water pushing. I'm gonna dry that up. I just want to get that shadow in here. Let's try some cobalt blue where we know that red really takes over. Okay, that's a lot darker. Let's try a tiny bit of red. See how, oh yeah, that's much better. Yeah. Get a little more water in there. So now I'm just simply going to try to see my line. Yeah. Okay, so I know it's back here. Oh, do you see what I'm doing? Yeah, actually putting the shadow on the wrong side. Wow. So yeah, I wasn't really paying attention, was I? Now I ruined that, but oh well, it is what it is. Let's try to do it the right way this time. The shadow would go this way. There we go. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I did that. Okay, let's try that again. Painting right along, trying to keep that edge wet. That's much better. Oh wow, does that ever feather? And this is good paper. This is Arches paper. I'm going to use some of this purple right down here anyway. I better dry that first though. I don't think these are going to be wonderful for layering. A lot of student grade paints aren't because they have a lot of filler in them. Let's just make sure this is good and watery. Let's map out our shadow. So it would come across here. I'm not 100% sure because I don't have a pear in front of me. You don't have to cover everything in. It's going to dry a lot lighter anyway. So see how I'm just kind of tickling the edge. And this paint, it's not going to be great for layering. It's disturbing the other paint. And this is good paper. Yeah, it's Arches. So we know the shadow side's on this side. Let's put a little bit of that purple dark back there. Get a little bit burnt sienna. Sometimes these pears have quite a little bit of brown on them. I'm going to dry that. Yeah, and it's good and dry. So we need to have a little more pigment, and I'm going to mix a greeny color. Let's use some of that Hooker's green. I'm going to throw a little of the cobalt blue in. That'll cool it off a little more because I mean that is on our table as well. Let's grab a little Payne's Gray. And I don't typically use Payne's Gray. It's not a color that I use, but I do notice that even in the Sennelier set, they had Payne's Gray in their starter set. That is nice and dark though. Let's test that. Yeah, I think we need a little more yellow. Let's try a little of the warm yellow. Oh, that looks a little better. Yeah, that looks a little better. I mean, we want it to be cool, but we can't have it too green because actually if you look here, there's not even really that much yellow there. So maybe we need to add some yellow and actually make it more bright green and then we'll darken it because there's really not a lot of pigment underneath it. That's a nice color. Okay, let's go with that. All I'm gonna do is just fill in that area that we were left with that was so yucky. Okay, I'm gonna rinse my brush really good and make sure that it's just damp. Now all I'm going to do is actually just pick up the edge. I'm not even gonna try and pull it out. I'm just gonna go back and pick that hard edge up because I find when I try to pull it out, it just goes bad. Yeah, it's almost like it's affecting the paint underneath. Like, yeah, I'm truly trying and this is hard. I'm struggling. Yep, I am struggling. And it's still not reading dark, but we want it to kind of fill the color in first. But if you look at this edge, now maybe that it's dry a little, maybe back here, can I just in spot? Yeah, it doesn't pull out really well. And if you look where I tried to pull that out some more, I'm actually lifting the color from underneath. So yeah, it's professional paint would have been in there. And I mean, you can disturb professional paint, don't get me wrong. But what I think is happening is so much stuff is sitting on the top, probably the filler and some of the pigment, but to get this bright color, I'm depositing a lot of filler too as well. Yeah, okay, let me dry that. Let me switch to a really, really soft brush. Mind you though, this squirrel will just suck everything up in its way. I'm going to make some more of this nice orange. Okay, some of that through this as well. Yeah, oh yeah, that's not gonna work. Okay, our brush just holds too much water. Okay, so while this is really wet, let me see if I can pull it out. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of moving some of the paint around as well. You can blot the paint off. Yeah, I can definitely see where I touched that. Yeah, the paint picks up very easily and it takes, oh yeah, look. So if I pick that up, do a couple highlights easy. All right, so I'm grabbing the paint right off of the palette now, which is very thick. Is that still wet? It is, that's still wet. So I'm gonna grab some cobalt blue and just try to get it really dark down here. Do you know I'm getting a line that I'm not liking? Let's just get a little more yellow in this, right? So we have it like a yellow, it's thicker. I'm really just kind of grasping at this point. I really am. That's starting to get iffy. I'm going to dry it. Let's try to finish it. Let me put a dark, get some Payne's Gray. Might as well use this. It's dark. Blue, nope, very black. A little blue to it. Let me get some of this off the brush. Anything that's sitting on something always has a very dark line underneath. That's what grounds it. And then I'm going to just tickle that line. Make sure I've got no water on my ferrule. I don't want any water coming off my brush. See if I can maybe pick some of it up. Yeah, go. That'll soften it. But of course, I've affected the color on the outside. I've already used quite a bit of paint just trying to get this color to work. This shadow. I just want to pull it out like this because as the shadow goes away, it gets lighter. Okay, I'm not going to play with that because I'm afraid these watercolors are making me doubt myself, and I've been painting for years. This is not a feeling that I would want to feel starting out. This is still not dark. Now, this went nice and dark, but we will see when it's dry. See if we can get some oh yeah, sure you can. You can get highlights. I don't recommend lifting a whole lot, but do you see the dark brown that we put there too? Do you see how light that is now? Yeah, that's part of the problem. I'm going to put a little bit of that dark purple there, and then I'm just going to pull it out. Close enough. Okay, let's get rid of this purple. Maybe some burnt sienna. Ooh, baby. Okay, a little blue. That's way too dark for a shadow, but if I don't put something that dark on, I'm afraid it's going to fade away to nothing. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Just want to get some of this underneath stuff. Get some of this dark. Okay, let's see. That's a little better. Let's grab some of this darker red. Let's dry that. I'm going to just get some cobalt, and I'm going to go over everything. Not my pear. I'm going to go over fast. I'm not even carrying a bead because this is such a small space that I know I can get around before it dries out. That helped the shadow a little. It was just a little too garish. The pear's a lot better. Put some blue right here. Doing is kind of dry brushing some on lightly. And you know what? Just doing that, I can see where it messed everything up. Let me dry this.
So after painting with these, here's my honest takeaway. These paints can work for loose sketching or just playing with color, but if you're trying to learn layering and depth, they're going to make the process harder than it needs to be. I tested 2 other affordable watercolor sets that perform much better for beginners. They layered more smoothly and were easier to control. I'll link those videos below if you'd like to compare them. So personally, I wouldn't recommend this set for learning the basics because they'll cause unneeded frustration. If you'd like some gentle, beginner-friendly help with watercolor, my free Joyful Art resource hub is also linked below. It's a great place to start if you want to build skills without pressure. Thanks for painting with me today. See you in the next one.